The Parker family arrived at the Grand Windsor Hotel after months of saving. Thomas worked hard as an electrician. His wife Olivia taught at a local school. Their daughter Emma had won a big scholarship at her school. This trip was their way to celebrate her success. Emma wore her best blue dress. She had never stayed in such a fancy hotel before. The building was tall and made of red brick with white trim. Doormen in green uniforms opened heavy glass doors for them. "Look at this place," whispered Emma, her eyes wide as they entered the grand lobby. Marble floors shone under crystal chandeliers. Soft music played from hidden speakers. Thomas adjusted his tie. He had ironed his best shirt 3 times that morning. "Only the best for our scholar," he told Emma with a proud smile. The family approached the reception desk. It was made of dark wood with gold details. Behind it stood Victoria Winters, a Chewy's thin woman with blonde hair pulled back in a tight bun. She wore a crisp black uniform with the hotel logo. Victoria was smiling as she typed on her computer. When she looked up and saw the Parker family, her smile disappeared. Her blue eyes narrowed slightly. "Can I help you?" she asked. Her voice had changed from warm to cold in an instant. Thomas stepped forward confidently. "Good afternoon. We have a reservation for 3 nights. The name is Parker." Victoria's lips pressed into a thin line. "A reservation? Are you certain?" "Yes, quite certain," Thomas said, keeping his voice steady. He reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out printed confirmation papers and his ID card. Victoria took the papers with just her fingertips, as if touching something dirty. She looked at their booking details with doubt on her face. "The Grand Windsor is a very exclusive hotel," she said, looking at their simple clothes. "Perhaps you meant to book the Windsor Inn across town. It's much more appropriate for certain budgets." Olivia felt heat rise in her cheeks. She had worked extra hours for months to afford this trip. "We've had this reservation for 11 weeks, she said firmly. "Please check your system." Victoria pressed her lips together and slowly typed on her keyboard. She glanced up as a well-dressed couple approached the desk. "One moment," she told the Parkers, with a dismissive wave. Then she turned to the new guests with a bright smile. "Welcome to the Grand Windsor. How may I help you today?" The Parkers stood waiting as Victoria helped not just one, but 3 different groups of guests who had arrived after them. Each time, she greeted the new arrivals warmly while ignoring the Parkers. Emma's excitement faded with each passing minute. She had been so proud when they planned this trip. Now she felt small and unwelcome. "Mum," she whispered, tugging at Olivia's sleeve, "why is she being so mean to us? Is it because—" She glanced down at her skin, then at the receptionist. Olivia gently squeezed Emma's hand. "Some people judge others before knowing them," she said softly. "That's her problem, not ours. We belong here just as much as anyone." Thomas stood tall, his back straight. He had faced this kind of treatment before. He wouldn't let it ruin their special weekend. "We'll wait," he said calmly. "We have every right to be here." Other hotel guests glanced at them curiously. An elderly woman in an expensive coat frowned at Victoria, noticing her behavior. After 15 long minutes, Victoria finally turned back to them. "It seems your reservation is in our system after all," she said without apology. "Room 318, basic rate room. City view." She slid keycards across the counter. "Thank you," Thomas said politely, though his jaw was tight. He took the keycards and turned to his family with a smile. "Let's go see our room, shall we?" As they walked toward the elevators, Emma's shoulders drooped. The exciting hotel stay she had imagined now felt tainted. "Hold your head up," Olivia whispered to her daughter. "Never let someone else make you feel less than you are." Emma nodded and straightened her posture. She looked around at the beautiful hotel that her parents had worked so hard to afford. This was still their celebration. No one could take that away. In the elevator, Thomas put his arms around his family. "This weekend is about celebrating our brilliant daughter," he said. "Nothing and no one will spoil that." Emma smiled, drawing strength from her parents' dignity. They had taught her that her worth wasn't determined by how others treated her. As the elevator climbed, she decided to enjoy every moment of their stay, despite Victoria's coldness. The Parker family may have been humiliated at the reception desk, but they refused to let that define their experience. They would face the weekend with the same determination and grace that had brought them to the Grand Windsor in the first place. The user is asking you to remake a story, part in 900 words, in simple and basic English. For this task, if you use information from search, it's important to use tags around information you're citing from search results. Robert Thompson sat in his office behind the reception area. He had worked at the Grand Windsor Hotel for 15 years, starting as a bellboy and working his way up to manager. He believed every guest deserved excellent service, no matter who they were. Through the glass partition, Robert could see Victoria at the front desk. He noticed her smile drop when a family approached. Something about her body language caught his attention. Robert watched as Victoria took their papers with just her fingertips. He frowned when she helped other guests while making the family. Wait. The parents stood tall, but their teenage daughter looked upset. This isn't right, Robert muttered. He stood up and straightened his dark blue suit jacket. Robert walked to the reception desk with quick steps. The marble floor gleamed under his polished shoes. Guests turned to look at the tall man with grey at his temples. "Is there a problem here, Victoria?" Robert asked, his voice calm but firm. Victoria jumped slightly. She hadn't seen him approach. "No problem, sir," she said, standing straighter. "I'm just making sure these people have the right hotel." Robert didn't miss how she said "these people," with a slight edge in her voice. He looked at the family more closely. The father wore a clean but simple suit. The mother had on a modest dress. Their daughter, a teenager with bright eyes, looked down at her shoes. Something about their quiet dignity struck Robert deeply. He remembered his own father coming home years ago, hurt after being treated poorly at a fancy restaurant. His father had stood just like this man, proud but wounded. "Mr. and Mrs. Parker, I presume," Robert said, extending his hand to them. "I'm Robert Thompson, the hotel manager. I apologize for any delay in your check-in." Thomas Parker seemed surprised, but shook Robert's hand firmly. "Yes, we're the Parkers. We have a reservation for 3 nights. Robert turned to Victoria. "Let me see their booking, please." Victoria handed over the papers with a tight expression. Robert reviewed them quickly. "Everything is in perfect order," he said, loudly enough for nearby guests to hear. "And I see this is to celebrate your daughter's academic achievement. Congratulations, young lady." Emma looked up, a small smile forming. "Thank you, sir." Robert made a quick decision. "Victoria, please change the Parkers' room assignment. They'll be in the Thames suite." Victoria's eyes widened. "But, sir, that suite is perfect for celebrating special occasions," Robert cut in smoothly. "Please make the change." He turned back to the family. "If you'll allow me, I'd like to escort you personally." In the elevator, Robert chatted warmly with the Parkers. He learned that Emma had won a scholarship to a prestigious school, that Thomas was an electrician, and Olivia taught kindergarten. The Thames suite took up the corner of the 10th floor. When Robert opened the door, Emma gasped. Floor-to-ceiling windows showed the river and London skyline. The sitting room had plush sofas, and the bathroom featured a deep, soaking tub. "This must be a mistake," Olivia said. "We booked a standard room." Robert shook his head. "No mistake. The Grand Windsor prides itself on recognizing special occasions. Your daughter's achievement deserves celebration." He walked to the window with them. "The London Eye lights up at night. It's quite a view from here." Before leaving, Robert handed them his business card. "If you need anything at all during your stay, please call me directly." In the hallway, Robert paused. What happened downstairs bothered him deeply. The Windsor had always been his dream job because of its values of excellence and respect. Victoria's behavior went against everything the hotel stood for. Downstairs, Robert called the duty manager. "I need all available staff for an emergency meeting in 5 minutes, conference room B." Soon, 15 staff members gathered. Housekeepers, bellhops, restaurant servers, and desk staff. Victoria sat in the back row, arms crossed. Robert stood at the front of the room. "Today, I witnessed something that deeply troubles me. A family was treated differently at our reception desk because of how they looked." The room grew quiet. "The Grand Windsor has one standard of service, excellence for all guests," Robert continued. "We don't judge people by their appearance, their accent, or the color of their skin." He didn't look directly at Victoria, but everyone knew who he meant. "If anyone cannot uphold this standard, they should not work here," he said firmly. "Is that clear?" The staff nodded. Victoria stared at the floor. After the meeting, Robert returned to his office. He looked at a photo on his desk, his father standing proudly in his factory uniform. "Did the right thing, Dad," he whispered. That evening, Emma Parker sat by the window of their suite. The city lights sparkled on the Thames. Double-decker buses looked tiny from up high. "Dad," she said, "that manager was really nice, wasn't he?" Thomas joined her at the window. "Yes, he was. That's how people should treat each other, Emma, with respect." Emma nodded. "I want to be like that when I grow up. Someone who makes things right." Outside, London glowed under the night sky, full of possibilities. Victoria had worked at the Grand Elm Hotel for 8 years. She prided herself on keeping the 5-star hotel perfect, checking every guest with care. But yesterday, she made a mistake. She questioned the Parker family, Emma and her parents, when they arrived to celebrate Emma's college scholarship. Victoria doubted they belonged, delaying their check-in and serving others first. Mr. Thompson, a kind guest, noticed and told the manager, Robert. Now, Victoria faced the consequences. The next morning, Robert called Victoria to his office. She sat stiffly, her arms crossed. "I've worked here 8 years, she said. "I was just being careful. This is a 5-star hotel." Robert leaned forward, his face serious. "Victoria, the Parkers had a reservation and ID. You treated them unfairly." "I didn't do anything wrong," she said, her voice sharp. "Then, why serve 3 other guests first?" Robert asked. "Why ask if they were at the right hotel?" He slid the hotel's code of conduct across his desk. "You have 2 choices. Leave the job or join our new hospitality training." Victoria's cheeks burned. "You'd fire me over this." "It's not just one mistake," Robert said. "It's about the culture we build here. You decide." Victoria left the office, her mind racing. She'd always been strict, making sure the hotel stayed elite. But had she gone too far? She didn't want to lose her job, but training felt like admitting she was wrong. She needed time to think. That afternoon, Victoria walked through the hotel garden to clear her head. She saw the Parker family near a rose bush. Emma, a bright-eyed teenager, was taking photos of flowers. Her parents sat on a bench, smiling proudly. For the first time, Victoria saw them as a family celebrating, not as people who didn't fit. She felt a pang of shame. They weren't the problem. She was. Back in her small office, Victoria thought about Emma. The girl had won a scholarship to a top college. Her parents were hard-working, saving for this special trip. Victoria had judged them by their simple clothes and old suitcase, not their hearts. She remembered Mr. Thompson, who'd spoken up for them. He didn't know the Parkers, but he saw their worth. Victoria wanted to be better like him. That evening she emailed Robert. "I'll take the training," she wrote. She didn't want to just keep her job. She wanted to change. The training started the next week. It was held in a meeting room with 10 other staff members. The trainer, Ms. Clara, was warm but firm. She talked about treating every guest with respect, no matter how they looked or where they came from. Victoria listened closely, taking notes. One exercise made her pair up with a co-worker and share a time they felt judged. Victoria hesitated, but told the group about a day she was ignored at a fancy store because of her plain clothes. Saying it out loud made her realize how she'd made the Parkers feel. Meanwhile, Emma and her parents enjoyed their stay. They swam in the hotel pool, ate fancy dinners, and explored the city. One evening at the hotel's rooftop restaurant, Emma talked to her parents over dessert. "I want to be like Mr. Thompson someday," she said. "He stood up for us when he didn't have to. That's the kind of person I want to be." Her father nodded. "Kindness takes courage," he said. "You'll get there, Emma." Victoria's training lasted a month. She learned to smile at every guest, ask about their day, and listen without judging. It wasn't easy. Sometimes her old habits crept in, but she caught herself. She practiced with co-workers, role-playing check-ins. By the end, Ms. Clara praised her progress. "You've grown, Victoria," she said. "Keep it up." One day, Victoria saw the Parkers in the lobby checking out. Her stomach twisted, but she walked over. "I hope you enjoyed your stay," she said, her voice soft. Emma's mother smiled. "We had a wonderful time, thank you." Victoria took a deep breath. "I'm sorry for how I treated you when you arrived. It wasn't right." Emma's father looked surprised but kind. "We appreciate that," he said. "It means a lot." Emma grinned. "This trip was perfect. I'll never forget it." As the Parkers left, Victoria felt lighter. She'd made things right, even if it was small. Robert noticed and called her to his office later. "I heard what you did," he said, "and that took guts. I'm proud of you." Victoria smiled, a real one this time. "I'm learning," she said. Months later, Victoria was different. She greeted every guest warmly, from businessmen in suits to families in sneakers. Guests noticed, leaving kind reviews about her. The hotel felt friendlier, and Victoria felt proud to be part of it. She even trained new staff, sharing what she'd learned about fairness and respect. Years later, Victoria was the hotel's front desk manager. Emma, now a college graduate, visited the Grand Elm for a reunion. She recognized Victoria and thanked her for the apology years ago. "It showed me people can change," Emma said. Victoria beamed. She thought of Mr. Thompson, the Parkers, and that tough day in Robert's office. One mistake had taught her a lesson that shaped her life. Kindness wasn't just for guests. It was a way to grow, connect, and make the world better, one smile at a time. Victoria was changing, but it wasn't easy. After her mistake with the Parker family, treating them poorly because she doubted they belonged at the Grand Elm Hotel, she faced a choice: lose her job or join a hospitality training program. She chose training, though her pride made her resist at first. Now, weeks into the program, Victoria was starting to see things differently. The training was led by William Jones, a kind but firm community leader. Victoria sat in the first session, arms crossed, unsure why she needed to be there. William spoke about unconscious bias, how everyone judges others without realizing it. "We all have biases," he said. "The question is, do we face them and fix them?" Victoria didn't say much, but she listened. In one session, hotel staff shared stories of being treated unfairly. Janet, a housekeeper, told how shop clerks followed her, thinking she might steal. George, from maintenance, said taxis often passed him by because of his skin color. Victoria was surprised. She'd worked with Janet and George for years but never knew their struggles. It made her think about the Parkers. The real turning point came when Robert, the hotel manager, invited the Parker family back. He wanted them to share their story with the staff. Victoria felt nervous as Thomas, Olivia, and their daughter Emma walked into the training room. They sat calmly, holding hands. Thomas spoke first. "We've faced unfair treatment before," he said, "but what hurt most was seeing Emma's excitement turn to shame when we checked in." Olivia added, "She was so proud of her scholarship. That day should have been special." Victoria stared at the floor, her face hot. She remembered delaying their check-in, questioning if they were at the right hotel, serving others first. She'd thought she was just being careful, but now she saw how wrong she was. William asked if anyone wanted to respond. The room was quiet. Then Victoria spoke, her voice shaky. "I never meant to hurt your daughter," she said, looking at the Parkers. "I'm sorry." Olivia nodded gently. "Intent doesn't erase impact. But growth starts with owning your mistakes." Thomas smiled faintly. "We appreciate your apology. It takes courage to say that." Emma, quiet until now, looked at Victoria. "I just wanted to celebrate," she said. "This hotel is beautiful. I didn't expect to feel unwelcome." Victoria's eyes stung. She'd judged the Parkers by their simple clothes and old suitcase, not their warmth or Emma's achievement. For the first time, she truly understood the harm she'd caused. That evening, Victoria saw Emma in the hotel lobby, looking at a painting of the city. Victoria hesitated, then walked over. "I'm learning," she said simply. "Thank you for giving me that chance." Emma turned, her face softening. "Everyone deserves a second chance," she said, smiling. Victoria felt a weight lift. She returned to the training with new energy. William taught the staff how to greet every guest with respect, ask about their needs, and avoid snap judgments. Victoria practiced with her co-workers, role-playing check-ins. She stumbled sometimes, but she kept trying. William noticed. "You're doing great, Victoria," he said. "You're listening now." One day a new family checked in, a mother and son in casual clothes, their bags worn. Victoria's old instincts twitched, but she pushed them aside. She smiled warmly. "Welcome to the Grand Elm," she said. "How was your trip?" The mother's face lit up. "Long, but we're excited to be here," she said. "It's my son's first time in the city." Victoria chatted with them, helping with their bags and suggesting a nearby park. Later, the mother left a kind note at the desk, thanking Victoria for making them feel welcome. Victoria kept the note, a reminder of her progress. The training ended, but Victoria's growth didn't. She started small acts of kindness, holding doors, complimenting guests, learning names. Guests noticed, and the hotel's reviews glowed with praise. Robert called her to his office one day. "You've changed," he said. "The guests feel it. I'm recommending you for a lead receptionist role." Victoria's heart swelled. "Thank you," she said. "I want to keep getting better." Months later, the Parkers returned for another stay. Victoria greeted them at the desk, her smile genuine. "Welcome back," she said. "It's good to see you," Emma grinned. "You remember us?" "Of course," Victoria said. "How's college going?" Emma talked excitedly about her classes, and Thomas thanked Victoria for the warm welcome. As they headed to their room, Victoria felt proud. She'd turned her mistake into a lesson. Years later, Victoria was the hotel's guest relations manager. She trained new staff, teaching them to see every guest as a person, not a stereotype. Emma, now a graduate, visited the hotel and found Victoria. "You inspired me," Emma said. "I'm studying to help people work through biases like you did." Victoria smiled, thinking of that tough day with the Parkers. One mistake, one chance to learn, had changed her. Kindness, she realized, wasn't just a smile. It was seeing people's hearts and giving them a place to shine. 6 months had passed since Victoria's mistake at the Windsor Hotel. She had wrongly judged the Parker family, Thomas, Olivia, and their daughter Emma, when they arrived to celebrate Emma's scholarship. Her cold treatment led to a confrontation, training, and a chance to change. Now Victoria was different, and the hotel was too. The Parkers were coming back, and Victoria was ready to make things right. The Parkers walked into the Windsor's grand lobby, a little nervous. They remembered the last visit when Victoria questioned their place in the 5-star hotel. Thomas held Olivia's hand tightly. Emma, now a confident college student, stayed close. They were here to celebrate Thomas's promotion at work, but the memory of their last check-in lingered. Victoria stood at the reception desk. When she saw the Parkers, her face lit up with a warm smile. "Welcome back, Mr. and Mrs. Parker. And Emma," she said, "we've been expecting you." She handed them key cards with a friendly nod. "You're in the Thames suite again. There's a special welcome basket waiting for you." Thomas blinked, surprised by her warmth. Olivia smiled and Emma's shoulders relaxed. "Thank you," Emma said softly. Robert, the hotel manager, watched from a distance. He nodded, pleased. Victoria had worked hard since her training. The hotel had changed too. Regular staff sessions now taught fairness and respect. The Windsor hosted community events like art shows and talks to bring people together. Victoria led many of these efforts, sharing her story to help others see their own biases. That evening, the Parkers sat at a candlelit table in the hotel's restaurant, enjoying a celebratory dinner. Victoria approached, her hands clasped nervously. "May I say something?" she asked. Thomas nodded, curious. Olivia and Emma looked up, waiting. "I want to thank you," Victoria said. "You could have asked for my job after what I did. Instead, you gave me a chance to grow. I'm a better person because of you." Olivia's eyes softened. "We all make mistakes," she said. "What matters is what you do next." Emma smiled. "Mum always says change happens when we see people as people first." Victoria's heart lifted. "You're right," she said. "I'm trying to live that way now." She returned to her desk, feeling lighter. The Parkers' kindness had changed her, and she was determined to pass it on. At the restaurant, Olivia looked at her family. Sometimes the hardest moments lead to the best growth, for everyone, she said. Thomas raised his glass. To new beginnings, he said. Emma and Olivia clinked their glasses, smiling. Later that night, Emma sat in their suite, writing in her journal. The welcome basket, a mix of chocolates, fruit, and a handwritten note from Victoria, sat nearby. Emma's pen moved quickly. Today I learned people can change when given a chance, she wrote. Standing up with dignity can change not just a moment, but a mindset. The Parkers' stay was perfect. They explored the city, laughed over breakfast, and relaxed in the hotel's spa. Victoria checked on them daily, ensuring every detail was right. Guests noticed her warmth and the hotel buzzed with a friendlier vibe. Reviews praised the staff, especially Victoria, for making everyone feel at home. One afternoon, Victoria organized a community event in the hotel's garden. Local artists displayed paintings, and a speaker talked about unity. The Parkers attended, mingling with guests and staff. Emma chatted with Victoria about college, and Thomas thanked her for the event. This place feels different, he said. You've done something special. Victoria blushed. I'm just trying to make things right, she said. Robert saw it all. He called Victoria to his office the next day. You've gone beyond my expectations, he said. I'm promoting you to guest experience manager. You'll lead our training and events. Victoria's eyes widened. Thank you, she said. I want to keep making this hotel a place for everyone. The Parkers left the Windsor with happy memories. As they packed, Emma slipped a note under Victoria's office door. Thank you for changing, it read. You made our trip unforgettable. Victoria kept the note on her desk, a reminder of her journey. She trained new staff with passion, sharing stories of the Parkers and her own growth. The Windsor became known not just for luxury, but for kindness. Community events grew, drawing people from all walks of life. Years later, Victoria ran the hotel's guest services, her smile welcoming every visitor. Emma, now a graduate, returned for a visit. She found Victoria in the lobby and hugged her. You inspired me, Emma said. I work with schools now, teaching kids about fairness because of you. Victoria's heart swelled. She thought of that first day with the Parkers, her mistake and their grace. One moment of kindness had reshaped her life and the hotel. It taught her that change starts with seeing others clearly, and that a single chance can light the way to a better world.